probably think you can learn a language without using these 5 language learning apps. Daga omae wa chigou yo. Hey, what is up, guys? It is your favorite Irish Nigerian American who can speak 7 languages here, otherwise known as Ikenna. And in this video, I'm going to be going over the 5 best language learning apps that you need to use if you're looking to learn a new language this year. Let's go. It is time for my annual top 5 language learning apps video, and this year's video is the one I am the most excited for. Now, back in 2020, I said a little something, because when I see every language learning app out there, I see so much room for improvement. Hence why I'm creating my own one, hence why next year's list is gonna look a little bit different. And I was right, because this year's list is different. Number 1 on this year's list is Fluyo. Now, you probably have never heard about it, unless you've been subscribed and watched my last few videos, but Fluyo is epic. Fluyo is the app that I've been working on secretly for the last 3 years. So of course, Fluyo made its little way into this video, and I'll also be sharing a special preview, like a sneak preview that no one's seen before. Let's get into it though. What is Fluyo? How can it help you? Fluyo is an all-in-one language learning app that's designed from the ground up to be the most fun and effective way to learn a language ever. It's really going to help you out if you find yourself to be a person who try to hop into a language, but then you quickly get kind of demotivated. You find it troubling to stay consistent, because essentially the way that Fluyo is built, it's going to teach you the most common 2,000 to 3,000 words in your language, the most useful words, but it's going to teach you in a way that's so fun, in a way that registers in your head that like you're playing a video game, like you're playing Call of Duty or Fortnite or World of Warcraft or like Pokemon. That's how fun it is. It's essentially 10 times more fun than any language learning app out there on the market. It's going to be really helpful for people who just have to force themselves to learn languages or to practice their language, because it really requires no effort to use. You kind of have to like force yourself not to use it. But aside from that main video game part of the app, there's also other parts of the app. So there's smart space repetition flashcards that can replace Anki. There is basically like Discord for language learners, where you can go in group chats and learn languages and make friends and practice your language skills. And on top of that, there's also mini games, so you can learn and review words with people online or against friends online. It's bonkers. Honestly, it is the most exciting language learning app out there. It's also like completely brand new, which like almost never happens. It's like the first year in 3 years where I actually put like a completely brand new app on my like annual list, which is crazy. So I would highly recommend to go to fluyoapp.com if you want early access and if you want to sign up the waiting list so you can get up to date on when that Kickstarter comes out. I highly recommend you to do that, because the Kickstarter is the only way that people are going to get alpha and beta access. If you do not get alpha and beta access from like backing the Kickstarter, you're going to have to wait like a year, literally to like 2024, until Fluyo comes out publicly. So I would highly recommend to go to fluyoapp.com, get on the waiting list, and hopefully back the Kickstarter when it comes out, because it would mean a lot to me, and because genuinely my team and I have been building this app to be that solution for people who just can't stay consistent and motivated, which honestly is like 80% of language learners. So I think you'd really like it. But that is only one app on this list. The next app on this list is Lingodeer. This is a great app for those learning Asian languages, whether it be Japanese, Chinese, Korean. Lingodeer is beast when it comes to those languages. They've also expanded to cover more languages now. I believe they cover like 9 languages or something like that, maybe 9, 10 languages, some European ones as well. But they are the OGs when it comes to teaching Asian languages. The app is kind of structured very similar to like just the normal kind of course or path app, where you kind of follow a path, and by the time you finish, you are very comfortable with the basics and you have a good solid knowledge of the grammar. Now, Lingodeer, their method is very grammar focused, which is great for people who just want to put their heads down and just learn grammar and make sure that they can master it. It can get a little bit much for some people, but by far, if you are struggling with grammar, especially for Asian languages, they are a great resource to go for. With them, you kind of get what you expect to get. While you're going through the course, you're going to know exactly where you are, and you're going to know exactly what you can and can't learn, and you're going to learn it. And I really respect Lingodeer. Their reputation amongst language learners is pretty spotless. They are a bit pricey. I believe it's like $14.99 a month, but there is the option to try out a few free lessons. And also, whenever you pay annually, things usually decrease in price. So that is Lingodeer. That is the pricing. That's the languages that they cover. I actually did forget to mention for Fluyo, the languages that Fluyo is going to be covering. Initially, it's going to be Spanish and French, but depending on how the Kickstarter goes, that can quickly expand to Japanese, German, Italian. Pricing model would be similar to Lingodeer, but cheaper. Next up on this list is Pimsleur. Now, Pimsleur is my boy. Pimsleur is like the OG. I can't keep saying OG. Okay, Pimsleur is like, it's just a good old language learning app. It's trusted. It is an app that I've used to learn like I think 5 of the 7 languages that I speak, and it's a really nice audio course app. So essentially, what Pimsleur looks like when you get into to it is it's an audio course. Each section of the audio course has 30 lessons. Each lesson is 30 minutes. And basically what happens is when you get onto it, there is a conversation that plays at the beginning of the lesson. You don't understand anything, but by the end of the lesson, 30 minutes later, you understand everything, which is really cool. And I feel like Pimsleur is perfect for people in the first 4 to like 6 weeks of starting a language. It is a great app to get you used to the sound of a language and to get you actually speaking it, albeit not as much. Like, you're not going to be speaking fluently after you finish it, but it is a great app for beginners to at least get that kind of start and to build that confidence and to interact with the language, whatever that language may be. They cover a bunch of different languages. I'm not even gonna list all of them. It's like a lot. Most likely the language that you want to learn, they've got it. Similar price point to Lingodeer. I think it's around $14.99 or maybe $19.99 a month. Again, considerably more expensive than Fluyo will be or some of the other language learning apps on this list. But the cool thing about them is the amount of content isn't that big, so it's like you can finish Pimsleur's content within a few months and you can always cancel if you need to. Aside from that, on their app, there's also a bunch of other kind of smaller features that supplement like that main course that help you review the words and learn words. But in general, it is just a pretty dope way to kind of start off a language, and I would recommend them to anyone. And they've been on literally all of my, annual apps list videos. They're dope. Next up on this list is a little bit controversial. You guys ready for the tea? All right. So this is something I never thought I would actually put on one of these, annual app reviews. But in spot number four actually will go to Duolingo this year. I know, I've let the Academy down, I've let the Ikenna Nation down, but hear me out. So Duolingo, I have to give them props because currently they're the most fun app out there on the market. Currently, when Fluyo comes out, it's gonna be a different story, but currently they are the most fun app on the market. And of course, they've had such a huge impact on the language learning app ecosystem. They cover a bunch of languages, a lot more than any other app. So if you are looking for a free app, Duolingo is always there. Personally, I get bored when I use Duolingo, but I get bored in general. Duolingo is all right. It's all right in terms of the information that it teaches you. It really is quite comprehensive, so you will learn a lot, albeit the sentences that you learn sometimes are a little bit strange and weird and useless, but you will learn a good amount of vocabulary going through their standard course, and it is a great tool for beginners, especially beginners that are just dabbling in language learning and they don't want to pay, but they do want to get a little bit of experience. Now, this is controversial for 2 reasons. 1, because I've historically always kind of trashed Duolingo a little bit, but 2, because recently, within this last year, they've actually changed their look, and they've changed the core way that Duolingo teaches languages, their whole new path system. Now, a lot of people have been hating on this change. Personally, I don't know how it's going to turn out, whether it be better for them or worse for them. I've been doing these lists for like the last 3 years, and like language learning apps never change. So for them to change such a big part of their app does take some courage. Whether that will pan out well for them or not, I don't know. A lot of people have been complaining, but we shall see. In general, for the time being, I do have to give them props for being pretty much the most fun app out there. I mean, it's kind of like cool math games, kind of like fun. It's not like video game fun. That will be Fluyo when it comes out, but it's more than other stuff. Oh my God! So the last app on this list, number 5, is an app called Speakly. So Speakly is a vocab boosting app. One of the reasons I like it is because their methodology is similar to Fluyo's. The focus is on the most common 2,000 to 3,000 words. They're really trying to teach you useful words as quickly as possible. Now, the app is a bit more dry. I would say it's not as fun as Duolingo, maybe, and definitely not as fun as Fluyo, kind of around Pimsleur level fun, but it is for those serious learners that just want to get so much vocab into their head as quickly as possible. I think it's really great for that. Their offering in terms of how many languages they support is a little bit limited, maybe around I think it's around 7 to 8 languages that they cover, not the most common languages as well. But if they do cover your language, I would recommend to check it out. They are kind of a no-nonsense vocabulary booster. You're going to use them, you're going to learn words in context, and you're going to learn a lot very quickly. They are a fully paid app, so it does require a monthly subscription. However, monthly subscription I don't think is as bad. I think it's relatively affordable. $10 a month if you pay monthly, and like $4 if you pay like at once, which is pretty decent. And you also have a 7-day free trial. So that is Speakly. Last but not least, I did want to give some honorable mentions. I wanted to give an honorable mention to Language Transfer and LingQ. Language Transfer is a great app if you're struggling kind of understanding how a language works. It really breaks down the grammar of languages in like the most effortless way I've ever seen. However, they don't cover that many languages, and I did put them in last year's video, hence why they're honorable mentions this time. And another app is called LingQ. It is great for people who love reading, who do a lot of reading and want to kind of extract the vocab out of whatever content that they're reading and kind of store it and review it very easily online. That's Steve Kaufman's app. So that is the list. I do have to remind you guys that you should 100% go to fluency.com if you want to get a chance to get into the beta or alpha access, obviously by backing the Kickstarter campaign whenever the Kickstarter campaign is out, because otherwise, I'm not kidding, you will not be able to try Fluyo until 2024, which would suck because app development takes a long time. So if you sign up to the mailing list, early access, you will get notified the second the Kickstarter campaign comes out. If you back the Kickstarter campaign, you'll get into the beta or alpha early 2023, as opposed to having to wait to like 2024. So I would highly recommend to do that. I love languages. I love language learning apps. I'm so passionate about them, and you can be damn sure that Fluyo is going to kick ass. And I did mention that it was going to make its way into this year's video. So I hope you're not mad at my bias/nepotism, but trust me, it's going to be sick. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you liked the recommendations. I hope I gave you some that are a little bit unusual. If you didn't, or if you did like them, I don't know, leave it in the comments. What do you think? But yeah, anyways guys, I will catch you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.